output options. So some of the newest output options I noticed that they created had to do with social media. You can select things like you want the output to go to a tweet. You can select it to go to a Facebook page. And there's some other ones, too, that I don't even recognize what they all are. But they've created a whole bunch of new ones that you can just select and download the ones that you needed, and then you would select them here and make them part of your profile. So for the purposes of this conversation, I'm just going to click on Clipboard. Then you can go over here to Effects, and you can choose Color Depth. And I find this handy. Sometimes I want to make my screenshots grayscale, and so this is a really powerful option to have. You can do color substitutions and inversions. You can do color corrections. You can change the resolution of the image. You can also do image scaling. This is one that I use a lot, mostly to just reduce images. You can add captions to your images, so it will request that you do that once it captures the image, so that's a powerful one to have too. This is one I use a lot, the border option, and so it will automatically, for me, put a 1-point border around my image. So let me go and do that. You want to have enable border in order to do that. I don't like the 3D effect. I just want a little 1-point border. So that's how I do that. And then I select black because that's the color that I like. And now, whenever I click this, I will get a border around an image. And then these are the options that I talked about earlier that you could select. One of them is to show your cursor. And this is, if you're trying to show what a user should be clicking on, then this is a great option to have in your capture. If, on the other hand, you want like some really nice image, maybe a dialog box, but you're not specifically talking about what a user clicks on, you wouldn't want to show the cursor. So you want to just remember that you can turn that on and off, and it is off right now. The next one is preview in the editor, and I also, again, showed you how to do that one earlier. You can do timed captures, and then you can keep web links alive or active. This is handy if you're going to paste it into, say, a Word document, but you want somebody to be able to actually have the functionality of the web. That's an awesome option to be able to use. And then this one is to capture multiple areas of a screen. And the last one is if you want to actually add audio to your images. And that's not one that I ever use. But anyway, you have the option to do that. So now you've got this selected, and this is everything that we selected is now part of your profile, and you don't need to change it. If you want to, there is a wizard that you can also use to do the same thing. So instead of going down through the settings like I just showed you, you could click on the wizard and it would prompt you for the settings. So let's go back into the presentation now. And I've included screenshots in here because when I originally did this presentation, I wasn't able to go in to Captivate and show people how to do things. So all of the screenshots are available if you want to download this presentation later. And so I'm going to go through them. There is an option called OneClick, and let me go back and show you how that works. Once you have your profile, you can go to turn on OneClick, and OneClick is a little menu that sits above all your screens until you need it, and it will allow you to look at your profile selections, and then you can just click on it. And so instead of having hotkeys like I do, you can just click, and it's going to go ahead and it's going to do the shot. And so it's very easy to do that. It just sits up there out of the way. I don't usually use this, but I think some people will find it handy because a lot of people don't like using hotkeys. So this is, that other screen was just to show you how to use the OneClick. Batch conversion is the next area that we're going to talk about. And I had a project recently where I was taking these images and they were coming over too large. I put them into RoboHelp and then found out when I printed out the RoboHelp file that they were just way, way too large. And so I had to resize them as a group. So this was a wonderful tool to be able to use to do that. And I was automatically able to resize everything down to 85% and to put borders on things. So where you go to get that is to convert images. So let's go real quick and look at that. Oops. And so what you do is you go in, you select the files that you want to convert, and I'm just going to pick some files. Let's see, my thrilling gopher files. Oh, not enough. So I'm going to pick the following group of files, and I'm going to open them, and then I'm going to decide that I want to scale them and add a border. And because I've done this earlier, it's got those options already set up, but I'm going to show you how to get them. So you go into image scaling and resize the image, and you can select the actual percentage if you didn't see it as a default. And I went and selected scale by percentage and made it 85% of its regular height and width. The other things that you can do is you can scale it to a width or to a height or a specific size. I'm just doing it by percentage right now. It's important that you click Use Smooth Scaling and to keep your aspect ratio, or you could get a distorted image when you do this. So I'm going to click OK. And I'm going to, the next thing was to add the border. So again, I went down here and I did the same thing that I showed you earlier that we were doing in the profile. And so I'm going to click OK and click Next. You can select the output directory where you want it to go. You can select the file format. There's some other options that you can select around file format. So for instance, because it's a JPEG image, you can select true color and the quality and the subfile type. And I never use subfile type. I couldn't tell you what that is. So I'm going to click OK. Also, you can choose to save it as its original name, or you can add an automatic name. And if you do that, the default is IMG. Excuse me. But you can give it a name as a prefix. You can add the number options, and so it will start giving the images numbers starting with IMG as the default, and then 0001 and so on. Or you can start the number wherever you want. So I'm just going to click OK and go back to original name here and click Next. And so it then gives you a summary of everything that you're about to do, and it tells you which files you're going to be using, and then it says to show the output directory in the library when you're done. So let's click Finish, and it works pretty quickly, although it depends on the number of files you have. When I was doing my RoboHelp project, it took a little while to convert everything. Okay, so those are, I actually did these other ones earlier, so let's take those out. So here are the images. They are all converted down to 85%, and you can tell right here that they have a border around them. You can kind of see the border, and if I were to copy and paste it into something, you would actually notice that it has a border around it. And so here are the actual screenshots about batch conversion. So those are available if you wanted to download the presentation later. So now let's talk about the